Also, I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform.
Scott, stop. It's too early. I just sat down. I've only been here for 2 minutes. You cannot continue to say that. You cannot say that. So that's the case. Who's the source of that?
What I find, we've reported it on this network.
It's not accurate, and you know it.
Okay, I'll let you make your statement.
So does anyone else think that there should be this greater concern about billionaires purchasing media companies?
Okay. Would you be worried if Bill Gates controlled MSNBC?
No, because he's sane.
Well, how about that debate on CNN between one sane human being, Scott, and several radicals who have no sense of social awareness? All right, folks, welcome back. You heard it correctly. The talking heads over at CNN are still up in arms over Elon Musk's renovations to Twitter, upgrading it. In fact, face it, folks, they openly despise free speech. I'm going to tear into this one. Let's get to some rapid reactions first. All right, before we go any further, I want to replay the end part of that clip.
Does anyone else think that there should be this greater concern about billionaires purchasing media companies?
Okay. Would you be worried if Bill Gates controlled MSNBC?
No, because he's sane.
Because MS...
Well, there are so many issues with this. For starters, the lunatics over at CNN apparently have no issue with anything else other than a billionaire buying a media company. If that's truly the case, why didn't we hear anything from them when George Soros tried to take down the airwaves, the national airwaves, right before the election? We're not talking about taking over one or two local talk shows here. Soros bought more than 200 radio stations across the country, all over the country, and had the purchase somehow miraculously expedited just in time for the election with Joe Biden at the helm. But of course, CNN had nothing to say about that. A billionaire buying 200 radio stations. Wow. My second issue with that ridiculous panel on CNN is this little clip that they're probably hoping no one heard.
Would you be worried if Bill Gates controlled MSNBC?
No, because he's sane.
Because MS...
Got it. So they would have no worries at all if Bill Gates bought MSNBC. They really expect us to believe that Bill Gates is, as they say, totally sane. You know, the guy that wants to vaccinate cows. He is their definition of sanity. I wonder what their content would look like if that climate cop was in charge. Elon Musk has done some incredible things. Some incredible things in his lifetime. Think about it. Tesla, SpaceX, Brainlink, or whatever that thing is called. But his biggest accomplishment may be giving a voice back to the American people. Of course, the left-wing media executives are sick to their stomach when they see regular people making news. When we're sharing news on X, we become the news delivery system. Take a look at how the head of Axios, Jim Vanderhei, is handling the lack of censorship that users on X experience.
Everything we do is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day or X today saying like, we are the media, you are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media. You having a blue check mark, a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter.
Did you get that? Did you get a legacy media saying, bullshit, Elon, you're not the media, we're the media. He's almost breaking out in tears. No, Jim, this is what it's all about. This is what Elon brought back to the table. He brought a voice on both sides, not just the 90% plus who lean left or are outright blatant Democrats in the mainstream media. So Elon says, open it up, make it a fair playing field, and what happens? The legacy media, Axios, believe it or not, is legacy. Legacy media says, no, you can't do that. We do that. It's our game. It's not your game. You're going to lose it, Jim. You're going to lose it. He seems a bit upset, doesn't he, Jim? I wonder who he voted for. As we've seen with CNN and MSNBC, the mega corrupt media is in a state of panic. Under Kamala and Biden and Obama, the American people had no voice. We, on the right side of center, simply were told what to do and what to believe. The incoming administration has been working on fixing this for years, and they have managed to do so before Inauguration Day. We're nothing without our freedom of speech, no matter how much the elites despise it, and the media elites especially despise losing control of the narrative. Another initiative that Trump is somehow tackling before he's even in office, immigration. Now, the full-blown reform of our broken system will probably have to wait until January, after January 20th when he's sworn in, but that hasn't stopped the soon-to-be president from sending some very serious messages to our international counterparts. Trump put China, Canada, and Mexico on notice yesterday, threatening to impose sweeping, massive new tariffs on day one as part of his effort to attack our drug and immigration epidemics. Now, I understand that everyone's in favor of tariffs. I'm not either. But you do see how our neighbors responded when he made those threats. And I think they're real threats. I think they're credible threats. I don't think he's just trying to scare them into lowering their tariffs first. Trudeau in Canada stopped dancing on TikTok for 5 minutes and called Trump, picked up the phone. The president-elect, not even the president. He called the president-elect to discuss border security. Here's why. Because Trump says unless you fix your freaking border with the United States, you're going to get a 25% tariff. 25% tariff. You want to sell anything into the United States, we're going to slap 25% tariff on you. And in Mexico, President Trump announced that he was going to stop the migrant caravans or else, the fentanyl coming in, or else he was going to put a 25% tariff on Mexico as well. 25 on Canada, 25 on Mexico, China, 10%. Folks, immediately, these countries stepped in line. They know Trump means business. He's not quietly threatening. He's actually going to do it. Biden had 4 years to do this, by the way. Something that was completely lost under Joe Biden was our crucial role in geopolitical landscape. A weak United States is not good for anyone, both in this country and in others. Again, I advise you to disregard the opinions of the fake news media. People all over the world are absolutely thrilled to see American leadership return. Numbers don't lie, and CNN broke down. And then they broke down the data behind the incoming transition of power. This should tell you everything you need to know about the mood surrounding Trump's presidential return.
Take a look here. President Trump's transition net approval. You go back to November of 2016. Look at this. He was just at plus 1 point. Just at plus 1 point. That is well below the historical norm. Look at where we are today. Significantly higher. Plus 18 points. That's 17 points higher on the presidential transition net approval rating. The bottom line is this. If 8 years ago Americans were lukewarm on Donald Trump, at this particular point, they're giving him much more the benefit of the doubt. A lot more Americans are in love with this transition.
He said, quote, Americans are in love with this transition. He said that on CNN. For once, CNN, for once, you nailed it. You weren't fake news. We certainly are loving every single second of this country's saving return to normalcy. Okay, folks, in 2021, we've told you about this. We've got to tell you again. Goya launched Goya Cares, a global initiative to protect children and educate children on mental health and other things. Goya Cares is providing schools and community centers with a preventative education curriculum and a free assembly that includes the viewing of the movie Press Pause by Goya Cares. Press Pause is intended to raise awareness regarding mental health issues, abuse, and bullying among children. It's a huge problem in America and in our communities. Press Pause is an educational film following young 15-year-old Sofia Rodriguez as she navigates adolescence, self-doubt, and an abusive relationship among her parents' turbulent divorce. Set with the cultural context of her Hispanic family, the film explores her discomfort with unwanted attention from her uncle and the pressures of maintaining a facade of perfection in high school. It introduces the Press Pause campaign, promoting kindness and advocacy, highlighted by Sophia leaving a note saying, quote, you matter for a bullied peer. The film encourages open family communication about mental health and culminates in Sophia's transformative realization of her right to seek help. Through the power of empathy and small acts of kindness, Press Pause displays the importance of being proactive in supporting one's community and underscores the critical importance of self-advocacy. Check it out. Press Pause with Goya. We love those people. All right, folks, time for our truth bomb. I could not. I mean, let's just talk about it. Watch this first and we'll talk about it.
We're going to sit and watch. We're going to wait and see because we can't do anything else except.
I'm not going to wait and see. I mean, this guy's told us he's a retribution.
What are you going to do? What are you doing? Like, there's nothing to be done until you know what you're fighting. It's pissing in the wind doesn't help. You just get a wet face.
But I mean, what I'm saying is I have no false expectations that at 78 he's going to all of a sudden turn into another human being. And I'm not going to spend. I spent weeks telling people that he was apocalyptic. I'm not going to change now because it's still the same man.
Not treating every single thing like
I think that's when we lose credibility.
Well, here's the thing. You lose credibility in many different ways. If you don't know what you're talking about and you accuse him of something, then they're going to blow it back. That's why I say we need to wait and see exactly what you're going to do.
So is that right, Whoopi? Let me get this straight. Suddenly, Whoopi, you want to be patient and give Trump a fair and honest chance to be a great president. Newsflash for you here, Whoopster. You're so far off the radical deranged deep end. Nobody believes a word you say. Can you believe that after all you've said and done, Whoopi? Whoopi Goldberg is trying to sound reasonable. She seems to forget the internet is a powerful tool. Here are some recent ones only. Some recent Trump derangement syndrome-fueled meltdowns from the lady who suddenly wants her co-host to dial back the rhetoric.
Talking about you, it's us. He's not going to, say, oh, you're with a white guy. I'm going to keep you from being deported. No, he's going to deport you and put the white guy with someone else. The man is out there. You know who tried to seize on the garbage talk controversy with a last-minute campaign stunt? He dressed up as a garbage man. He could not get into the cab. Okay? Kind of makes you want to see his medical records, doesn't it? Then he just wouldn't go. He was like a bug. He just kept being there. He was like a bug right there. It's up to each and every person in this audience to make sure you get out there and vote. And no, you can't lay by the wayside and say, I'm going to let somebody else do it. Because this requires you recognizing that we're all in danger here. He's now the president. I'm still not going to say his name. That's not going to change.
We're all in danger. We're not going to say his name. We've called him nasty things over the last 8 years and prior. Whoopi, stop it. You know what you are? You're just like Joe Scarborough, Mika, who called Trump Nazi and Hitler 2 weeks before the election, or up till the election, in fact. And then a week after the election, you go with your tail between your legs and you beg for forgiveness at Mar-a-Lago. Or you're like Gavin Newsom, who all of a sudden wants to be welcoming to all people. Really? Really? You guys think we forget that fast? That you trashed him for years and now all of a sudden he's president and now you're worried about your own careers? So you flip-flop and say, give him a chance. Get out of here. We don't need you. Sorry, Whoopi. Truth bomb, Whoopi. America doesn't need The View, nor you.
It's always been very clear that the documents case, it's a hoax, is nothing but an election interference scam concocted by crooked Joe Biden and deranged Jack Smith and their hacks and thugs. It's totally illegal what they've done. And now deranged Jack has admitted in a filing in front of Judge Cannon, a highly respected judge, strong and smart, to what I've been saying happened since the illegal raid of my home, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida.
Time to prosecute. Prosecute Jack Smith. Prosecute all of them, in fact. Fani, that Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, prosecute them all. It's over. A judge has dropped the charges against President Donald Trump in the D.C. case against him, that case concerning the investigation into the January 6th Capitol protests. And Jack Smith also filed a motion to drop his appeal in the classified documents case as well. That case, if you recall, was tossed in July by Judge Aileen Cannon, who ruled that Jack Smith was unlawfully appointed as a special counsel. It's over. And I know what you're thinking, because I'm thinking it too. Is it too good to be true? The election interference case against President Donald Trump going away, becoming ancient history. But is that too good to be true? Well, just as we watch history with each and every bit of executed leftist lawfare against Trump, just as those cases and those moments felt absolutely surreal to Americans, how could a justice system go after a private citizen? How could they do that to try and bankrupt him, really just to get him out of the way so he doesn't become the next president again? It was also the entire world was watching, though, folks. This moment feels surreal, too, doesn't it? I have to process it and digest it, much like I'm sure you do. How is it that after they went after him the way they did, with such venom, with so much bravado, and with so much assuredness? Remember how confident they were that they were going to take Trump down? And just as quickly, Trump wins an essential landslide, meaning indisputably, and it all just went poof, vanishes into thin air. Is this real? Can it be? Of course it is. Well, Congressman Dan Goldman can't believe his eyes and ears either. But of course, for every guy like Dan Goldman, there's other. But Dan Goldman has his own reasons. Listen.
I think it is a shame for justice in this country. It establishes that Donald Trump is above the law. The Supreme Court put him above the law in that opinion that Paula just mentioned. But now he appears to escape full accountability for what were crimes charged by a grand jury. And I would just add one other thing that we ought to pay close attention to. We cannot normalize the fact that Donald Trump, as the president-elect, should not be held accountable for crimes that he committed before.
But you know what, folks? Just as the day is long and as the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, and Kamala Harris is an absolute, total, and utter Marxist moron, just as all of those things are set in stone, the fact of the matter is that all that was meant to be to do to prevent Donald Trump from ever stepping foot into the White House, well, that's all going away. Okay, all right, so you must be sitting there thinking, Bolling, we already knew this. We knew that this was bogus leftist BS from the start. We knew what they were trying to do or to achieve, or at least what they were desperately trying to prevent, another Trump presidency. They tried and they failed. And why? Well, they failed for the very reason we've been pointing out all along. It wasn't real. It wasn't even legal. It had only one purpose: destroy Donald Trump, leave nothing remaining to vote for. And they failed the obvious reason, and we know this. But here's where it gets good. What happens next is where it really, really gets good. Let's get into it a little bit. The deep state was hard at work for 4 years, and they think they can just quietly slither away and pay no price for it whatsoever, bend the law, sometimes destroy the law, sometimes subvert the law, sometimes go around the Constitution, and they think it's okay, and we're just going to say, all right, you dropped the case, go do your thing, Jack Smith, Fonnie Willis, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, just go do your thing. No, not so fast. This is where the American people deserve answers. We can't fix it until we know who broke it, and we know who complied, and we know who hid it. This doesn't get to just go away. They don't get to just make it go away. I'm not even talking about revenge. This isn't about vengeance or revenge. This is about defending our republic and about making sure that this period remains merely a stain on our democracy instead of the way forward. We can't just let it go away. We can't just breathe a sigh of relief and say, whew, nightmare's over. They didn't get Trump. Now let's resume our regularly scheduled programming. No. Every single level of this must be looked into, investigated, must be held to account. I'm talking about assistants. I'm talking about typists. I'm talking about observers, advisors, aides, the ones who delivered the paperwork, the ones who read the paperwork to the Congress people, the ones who knew this wasn't right and went ahead with it anyway for their BS leftist cause. Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Shifty Schiff. Oh, and the media. They're the nastiest and most complicit of them all. They dove headfirst into the biggest political scam in our history. They dragged one person, a citizen, a private citizen no less, through the mud and the rocks and the sewers because they were petrified of what that meant to their ranks and their Marxist agenda and their very powerful blue carpet futures. It meant Trump wins and they lost power. We want proverbial heads to roll. We want accountability. We want apologies. We want the past 4 years of our lives back. First of all, as anticipated, these pompous Harvard-bred journalists have learned absolutely nothing. For every Bill Maher or James Carville who tries to convince the left that they went too far and they were too nuts, there are probably 1,000 of those journalists who refuse to apologize for their incessant lies. They are part of it all, and their reputations deserve the hits and slices they're about to endure. Their ratings deserve to crash. We should be relentless in our quest for accountability. This man was very nearly assassinated twice because of the lies the media happily told. Americans are sitting in solitude in jail cells for far less than those who broke into our country. Are they kidding? When the hell are we going to be allowed to be angry about what they put us through? We won. All right, we're happy. But let's not forget what they did. For every single American of all ages, colors, sizes, and religions, Americans from all walks of life watched something unprecedented happen. But we also watched how many people went along with it, how the media went along with it, how many former trusted agencies and organizations went along with it. So no, sorry, not just went along with it. They freaking pounded it into your face. Night after night, headline after headline. We want a freaking apology. We want accountability. We want some jail time for the biggest culprits, don't you? We're supposed to sit here and believe that Jack Smith just walked away out of the kindness of his heart. To be honest, not much he could really have done anyway. The Supreme Court ruled on some level of presidential immunity, and nearly 77 million Americans voted beyond the BS, no matter what the reason was. It is satisfying. That's a fact. But Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Nancy Pelosi, Chucky Schumer, a lot of you, these people are responsible for one of the darkest periods of our republic. Liz Cheney betrayed party and country because she was useless, and she knew she was going to be useless. Couldn't win an election. So Liz positioned herself as some sort of beacon saving America by trying to take down Donald Trump. The fact that she's the progeny of warmonger Dick Cheney makes that fact all the more ironic and wildly entertaining. But I do digress. So Liz thinks she's some sort of warrior destined to take down Trump and MAGA. Heads up a bogus January 6th committee to try and throw Trump in prison for something he didn't do. Sprinkling a little of the story of some girl saying she heard that President Trump overpowered the Secret Service agents and stole his limousine. Seriously, did Jussie Smollett write this script? But the ending was written by us, by garbage Americans, through the power of our voices and our votes. And that disgusting chapter of American history ends with, but he won the election anyway. And Jack Smith had no choice left but to drop the case he should never have brought up to begin with. And yes, we need to move on as a nation, much as the left needs to get over the fact that the red wave happened. It's over. You lost. Perhaps we should too move on, but not yet. It's not that simple, and it's not the same thing. Not at all. Again, what they did, the levels of low they stooped to, unprecedented in American history. And this man, Donald Trump, got up over and over and over again, hit after hit after hit, rally after rally, fist pumped the audience after he was almost assassinated, bleeding from the face, saying, fight, fight, fight. Think about that for a second. It's not over, though. I'm sorry. It can't be, and it shouldn't be. Never forget the time Jack Smith attempted to bypass lower court rulings on the immunity case and admitted he was only doing it so that the trial could take place before the 2024 election. He tried to push that trial through. The guy tried to completely upend our legal system to throw Trump in jail before the voters could elect him, and he lost. Jack Smith did irreparable damage to our justice system, and for that, he doesn't just go walk away quietly. And let's never absolve the legacy media, the leftist propaganda machine, for reveling in their banana republic antics.
And just one last point. Jack Smith, remember when the classified documents target letter, when Trump announced that, there was a lot of commentary. Is Jack Smith making a mistake here? Is he leaving this all to Donald Trump? And then they released the indictment, and we all said, wow, wow. We read it. We saw the documentation. We saw the level of detail. Jack Smith going to Subway today is a message to Donald Trump. Donald Trump tries to intimidate people. He tries to bully people. He tries to scare you away. That was Jack Smith with no words and a simple $5 sub in his hand saying, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Wait, Jack Smith went to a Subway sandwich place? You know who else was on his way to Subway, supposedly? Jussie Smollett, another BS artist. These people must be held to account. We want apologies. We want admissions. We want jail time. President Trump is focused right now on the job ahead. There's a country to fix, deportations to carry out, fentanyl smugglers to punish, an economy to fix, a dangerous world to show strength in. Let him do it. Let Trump be president. Let the president do what needs to be done to save the republic. But this has to be a time for accountability, too. What they did to this country, to our society, the trust has been lost in all of our institutions. Think about that. The FBI, the DOJ, ATF arresting parents. Really? Well, this requires retribution. Sorry. There needs to be acknowledgments and lessons learned. Let's not forget, if Donald Trump had lost the election, they would have continued in their pursuit of, they would have thrown him in jail for the rest of his life and thrown away the key. They would have continued with the lawfare until they had Trump in solitary confinement for the rest of his life and everyone who ever supported Trump on trial or in jail. President Trump fought for us, for America, in the face of all that. And now it's our turn to fight back. Well, I know you believe this because I can't believe this, but according to some reports, this is really crazy, drum roll please, Andrew Cuomo, remember him? The former governor of New York who had to step aside because everything proved he was totally and completely corrupt. Well, Andrew Cuomo is expected to launch a mayoral bid for New York City. Folks, you can't make it up. The guy got thrown out of the governor's office, lucky to save jail time. And by the way, I don't know, he was one of the main pushers of vaccine mandates and all kinds of crazy shit during COVID. So Andrew Cuomo wants to be mayor of New York. You know what, folks? The left, they can't get out of their own way. Get rid of these people. Bolling out.